정말 미마 참말라니 인공들레스 쇼다 찹지 네 드링 어서 치제되네 칼라나 짐바다 아니 신벤다 아니 학삼스티 디콜라니 주인스.
Good afternoon to all of you. Today I'm going to give a short presentation on generosity and altruism.
아니 정말 짐바기에 어디 가르쳐 올라나 아니 방심 매배 아니 또 셈바 아니 선나게 냠보 지고지라 아니 짐바스이.
So when we talk about generosity, we say generosity is something like a person is giving something without any sense of stinginess and giving that wholeheartedly.
아니 다들 짐바들라 지당 여와 망보도 시르네 디나네 아니 조치와도 숨기고네 아니 주제 숨기고네 주인스.
So when we talk of generosity, there are three types of generosity. So I'm going to talk about these three types.
아니 당보되어라는 당보 책이 짐바 아니 니와데 아니 상승기 짐바 숨바데 아니 미지바껴베 짐바.
So the three types of generosity is generosity of generosity of dharma or the teaching, and generosity of wealth, and generosity of saving someone from danger.
아니 정말 디숨기에 ngotedo 시간에나 당보 아니 책이 짐발라나 아니라 아니 수수기마 아니 최셔바다 아니 람든 제바다 아니 랑 계획이 남기 랑 라마 최 숭와다 쇼 아니 랑 계획 남기 랑라 아니 람템바 나서바데 안치기 짐바 샤기스.
So when we talk about generosity of dharma or the teaching, we teach the teachings of Buddha and gives a proper direction or guide to the other one. So that is the generosity of dharma or the teaching.
아니 니바데 상승기 짐바데 가는 샤기라나 아니 균열라 소베 체중매베 아니 균열라 소바데 아니 상승기 짐바는 샤기스.
So when we talk about a generosity of wealth, so no matter whether it's a big or a small, so whatever wealth or the belonging you have, when you are giving it to someone, that comes under generosity of wealth.
아니 숨바데라 미주베껴베 지발라나 아니 벤나 아니 미지기 아니 솔로 투제 감다다 아니 딜라 시당기 나로라 흉 되어요나 아니 디 아니 속겨바당 어디 시낭디 아니 상야기 간다디 상야기 치도 아니 로첩라 소바 제바데라 아니 미지베껴베 지버스 샤긴스.
So when we talk about generosity of saving someone from danger, so for example, when a person is in danger and he is anxious, and when we try to save that person from anxiety or save that person and try to comfort that person and build a confidence in that, comfort that person and build a confidence in that person, that is generosity of saving someone from danger.
아니 짐바당수들라 아니 저 아니 주제숨이고네 아니 가르라나 아니 짐바보 아니 진자 아니 짐베기 율 디숨이고네 예버도 디숨이고네 땅오레스 짐바당하나.
So when we talk about generosity, these three constituents or the factors are there. That is the giver and the receiver and the object to be given.
아니 이마데 아니 신변당 학삼린데 아니 모로데 컨디션을라나 아니 다 지속이라 아니 저 한식 직전에야 아니 딜라 심당돌라네 쿨렘바직 아니 지오딜라 아니 학삼나 신변난 시기스.
So when we talk about motivation, for example, in a society, we live in a society, and whatever work or job we are going to do, we do it with full dedication and motivation. That is altruistic. There is altruism.
아니 짐바당알라 아니 니버도 아니 제심 유고네 아니 심바치 고레스. 제심 유고네 심바.
Generosity.
제심 유고.
So when being a generous means the person should have love and respect for the other one.
아니 타마디 쪼데 아니 가르나 아니 쪼쪼데 아니 짐바다와라 아니 굴롱다 삼바디라 라레바인스.
So the most important thing about generosity is one's motivation. So that's all.
I have a number of questions, but I will start with the third kind of generosity, in terms of generosity of saving someone from danger. How does this differ from compassion?
Tanda kiran sugi jimba kiji shidu sumba jiduas dila du miji bekyo bala jura di shidu gala ani di tanda jimba sumba jidua rik sumba di ani ningje da keba khari yores.
Keba ningje da teo yores.
So the third type of generosity is related to compassion. It is related. Yes, it is related.
Kisi nganzo miji ane chunang sawaina ane mide le kyo patang ane ninji kone mala kyo kida ane dila ane kyo mnet ane chunu tembadala nabdis.
So when you see a person drowning in a river, you go and help that person and save that person. So it is with your compassion and generosity that you have helped that person and saved that person's life.
Just to add a little bit, if you don't know to swim, then please.
Sorry, you don't know how to swim. The kirangi gyabgi is laruas, and kesi kirangi gyatu me oina ani khandis cheres.
Ane tapshe chine ane shimbaji ke tangne ke kyabya yores.
So I will try and call another person and ask him to save that person's life.
Great answer.
So in the West, scientists disagree about altruism. Some say that to be truly altruistic, the act has to be totally selfless, meaning that there is no benefit for the person. But other scientists say that there is no such thing as a selfless act, because even when you do something for somebody else, you yourself are getting some sort of emotional benefit, whether it's a feeling of happiness. So ultimately, there really can be no truly selfless act. So I'm curious, in the Buddhist tradition, is there a belief that there can be a selfless act?
The tanda shoina tanda jimba la dira di la du ni shimba rang la samlu tani phe di tanda nganju gi keje shidu seri na shoina nganju gi shimpe se jura di ani seri ba khurang khashi gi khelinge yo mares khais na di gi ani susu la kheben khe yo mares shimbal phe waina an thana shi ani di ro cha shoina phajo la phe bai na ge susu la khari ra gi la waina nyonsor gi ngoni ta digi ro da dindir ra gi ra susu la kheben jiyo di thoni ani shen la phe di altruism la di dindir jil sha gi res susu rangi la tanda kheben me de de chi yo mares seri ba tanda shimpe la di la susu
아니
shimpe la di chi yo mares
kena 아니 지다라
de khari ki ur
짐바딜라 니 샤게도 아니 타비 짐바장 마타비 짐바스 니 샤게도 아니 타비 짐바스나 다 소소기 그래 아 레다는 밀라 마레와라 소소기 파 아니 그래서 미들라 펜바지고 군닐랑비다 소소라 로와미 와지지레 니와딜라 아니 그래서 마타비 짐바나다 소소기 파 짐바타이나 야 소소기 알레 레다는 밀라 레니 소소기타 소소리 야나 람도 용에다 야나 아니 다 체치마케닝도나 체치말라니 소소기 그래서 제우 약보용을 세르 체치마니 딘데 용을 세르 양 체치마 밀려내나 콜라 양 균노당 롱제도서 아니 양부차도라 어딘데게 아니 니르스 아니 치 아니 다 소소기 그래서 내가 단다 타둑도 차도라 내가 들라니 소소라 아 그래서 내가 들라니 소소다 체탄데 끼바다 아니 소탄 체탄데라 균노 롱주 약보용에다 아딘데 체도 시작했어.
So we talk about these two types. The first one is when we are being generous, we are expecting something, and something like, okay, by doing this particular act, I'm going to get benefit, and it benefits my next life, and things like that. And the second one is based on the situation. So if I if I'm generous and donate wealth and money, and it leads to my own success and all this, thinking about all these things, so the person is being generous. So there are these two types.
노코기 가서는 콘세티기 안에 팔레 잘라텐 안에 수수기 케빈치도 안에 수수기 케빈치도 팔레 잘라지테 그래서 뭐라 아니 디게 칼라보다 데 셸레 펜지 톡 디어레스라 셸레 펜지 톡에 안에 수수리 개워지 주유레스라
So
개워주는 짐바 두유레스라 짐바레스.
So when you are donating or when you give something to another person, that is helping the other person. So that means the person is being generous, and it's because it's helping the other person.
You know, that's true. When we are doing altruistic or we are doing altruistic activity or giving something to others, then we are also happy and feeling good to give something to others. And that's good for us as well as for others. And this way, it's again helping to have our higher level of well-being as well as others, better well-being and getting benefit from our giving. So that way, it helps to all of us.
Antanda shimpenda de chajudinto juwaina stra di ikengi ani susu kibu yonyache di kharirla na susu like pingure yaga yore thana shi shin lage yaga yores ani di gichi khari kebe yorla na susu la ni susu gi dedun che ani thana shi shin gi dedun lage pingi yores dinde chiwainas.
I want to clarify my question. So the question is it possible, so a person does an altruistic act for somebody else, is it possible for a person to do something for someone else without expecting any kind of benefit for themselves? Some scientists say that that is true altruism. When you don't get anything in return, whether it's happiness or whatever it might be, that's true altruism. Whereas other scientists say that that is not possible. It is absolutely impossible because you will always get something in return. And I remember in a discussion that one of the nuns talked about, it's more of a bodhisattva state to not expect anything in return. So I'm wondering if they can talk a little bit about that.
Dila dugola pala roboji chiwa na susu kibu choya da jik yore la ra susu le kebin ji yores dila dugola susu tanda rewa che ma chiwa dende chini shin la rang samlo tani shimpen che jura dende ani ta true altruism la na ta shimpen chende ro la ora dende jile shagi yores and di yo mares la ni shigi yores kuran sogi
anzo na shigi thona na di chimba yang ta chagi yo mares.
So in Buddhism also, when we expect something in return, that's not true altruism.
Khajilana chimba tawalara ani phase mebe ne jede mebe kone ani chimba de tangures.
So one is called generous or he is into the act of generosity only when the person is giving something wholeheartedly.
Susu rede yabaina ti nyamdula ani susu la koi gi rede yabaina ani phase mebe de chayo mares. Chela yang ngala chik khola deni ro chik te sona ngara la deni ro chela yang mi susu nyenda chembo deni keta chembo chayagi rede ro da deni ro yesona an susu gi chimba yang da badi ani chagi yomares.
So when a person is giving something wholeheartedly, he is not expecting anything in return. He is not expecting for fame or anything like that. So if he's expecting something like fame or some other things, that's not true generosity.
Yeah, Pulkit, would you like to ask some questions?
Yes, I wanted to ask you that in modern psychological literature, we talk about deliberate interventions to increase compassion, gratitude, etc. Can you tell us some strategies to nurture generosity in people? Is there a way that we can, boost this, enhance the spirit of generosity in people? Thank you.
Tanda ngara zo tseri nal tanda semkam ripo da dende kal taji chiyo ras chotab dende nal ani tanda nyingje da dende kor chiyo res an chida tanda ngara zo gi jimba kor chiyo ras jimba se di mi nang lo da pele jura di ni khades pel tu res. jimba tang de khande spell to res mi
jimba gelara chidan jimba tang de lo so so jangai resra an thangbo ta thangbo jimba tang de lo thangbo jangdu chambala so so ge ani lagba yeba ge ani yomba lite dang de so chongda ro thangbo ende chi gores ani niwa de ani ta chudi zola so so chude so so narewa tinde sonsan chudi zo ani pa jimba tang da o tinde ni chene ya ani khomshi tang che chuli ta ko kare so so ma tak tu ma so so jimba yo da tila phasam yo marwa di sonsan tinde chene ya jongda chene ani so so jimba ya chiru tang gi an tinde lo jang yures.
So we can enhance or like improve this generosity, the quality of generosity by first we need to practice upon oneself. So like giving something from your right hand to the left hand, and then like giving water to others wholeheartedly. So likewise it goes step by step. So you can start from smaller and then expand it.
아니 짐벌라는데 침부지 땅고마데 당분에 간자 아주 짐바 말라 무치네 제야라니 짐바 땅이 아니 장고리스라 당분에 침부 장머리스.
So when you are talking about generosity or giving something, it's not about it's not a matter of how big or small that amount or something some object is. So you can start from 1 rupee and then increase to 2 and like that.
아니 짐바디 다다 짐바 펠라셔라 아니 양겔딜레 페치샤나라 페샤나라 아니 고무찍라다 디가스기 수선나게 나 되네 요마로야 힌딜라다 짐바다 고무찍 디기라 아니 지리 징여라 딜라 지리강 숨싱아스라기라 더 공충충도 징여이나 아니 디녀제 아니 부구딜레 때다라 디네 지니 수수기 아니 로 정탑 로디 정액이다 아니 정다르 길레기 탑시 요라스.
So, for example, 1 rupee is not a big amount. So you can, and if you spend 1 rupee, you won't have this sense of stinginess, and you can spend 1 rupee and buy 3 candies and give it to children. Likewise, you can have this habit and improve yourself.
There are some questions from audience. Some people are being generous on specific occasions like religious event. Does it matter? So not always, but a certain, occasion. Even in my presentation, I said on certain occasions they donate money. So do you think that's also important, or it should be always not, periodically?
Ani mi khashe chasha oina khariyor launa jimba tae jora tujul ta oina tanda chujo da tiwe tuju da tujin ro khigra tinde ra jimba tangi yores and di kechumbu chagi yores lash.
개춤이 케바요레스.
Yes, it does matter. So yes.
디가스기 가래 디상다 아니 데니로 따와이나 아니 개와디 나가로 나셔널 가네라나 디상 데니로를 짐바치 따와이나 남균나라 짐바 따와디 아니 개장합 주스 따와이나 디상딜라 따와딜라 아니 개체 개스 디기스기 랍침부기 케바요레라는 것도 나셔널 숨겨요레스.
So on like in Buddhism, we talk about generosity and giving donations on religious, giving offerings on religious occasions. So on religious occasions, when you donate or offer 50%, so when you give something, if it's 50%, the merit will be accumulated will be considered as 100%. So it improves.
두신 지무자 땅 짐바 땅인데 되네 개버디 요르데 아니 수수ኛ 꿀릉 따고 그랬으라 꿀릉 약비면 아니 수수기 년다 체위치도 아니 가 두신 지무 땅나 미멍 아니 가 년다 체기래 냐 꿀릉 이니 캔다 땅나 아니 짐바 두기 말이스라 짐바데 되데 짐바 양다 두기 말이스라 아니 꿀릉 꿀 소소서 또보다 꿀릉 따고 그랬으니 말이.
So even if one is of giving offerings on religious occasions, but the most important thing is we have to look at what the motivation of that person is. It's the most important that matters.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that? So the second form of generosity, type of generosity, was generosity of wealth, so giving some sort of material aid. But what if the person who receives that material aid uses it in a non-virtuous way?
Tanda sangsing ki jimba ladu gyunor dizo ma jimba tang di ros di ladu ini tanda phaju michi gi shimba dila ni tanda jimba tang wainas and di gyu di shimba tanda topgin jiyora gyu jimba tongsa jura korangi en pejo lokba tangwaina ndi tagda di yurwes ndi tangwainas
디 강서들 따고리스라 기지 디 미들 디 짐머때 놓고 펜서리스나 땅고리스라 팽기민은 땅에 요 말이스 딜따기네 셰레브 톡치네 땅고리스 짐바당도.
So even when we are giving offerings, you have to look into the reality, and you have to see who the receiver is. So based on that, you can offer.
당가주 토닌 신다 콘정리 아니 짐발라는 콘주기 짐발라는 간지질이 셰기스라 짐바당다 아니 꿀룽 간지질 켄데 근데 짐바당데 짐바당다 간지질 당기스.
So I want to know what do you mean by generosity, and what about the motivation when you talk about generosity? Is it important?
So in the scientific literature, there's not a lot of difference between generosity and altruism. Both are giving, the giving of help or gifts, whatever it might be. But motivation is very important in terms of altruism. Because specific to altruism, it's very important that nothing is expected in return.
Tatanda jimba da shimpe shirwas di ani kheba shida siyo mare sanjui hine thanda kulong la diki shidu kulong di thanda ngaju gi shimpe yora dina ani khejimbu chigi yores di la di kulong khandi khigu gur la na susu le khebe dinde rewa machi ni ani shimpe chi yora di la ani ngaju shimpe kulong di khejimbu chigi yores
dada jira dada sangsengi jimba sha sangja mare chegi jimba no ani genla horang chugi dada ani 기긴장 레스 디가 아니 롭트나나 가데네 롭정던 nenanggi ras di ni chimbare samgi maris.
So we talked about generosity of dharma or teaching. So you teach your students and the person who come to learn from you. So do you think this act as generosity of teaching or dharma, not dharma, generosity of teaching?
Let me answer, then you respond. Actually, in your terms, our answer should be no, because we are getting salary to teach them. So that is why. But if we are teaching somewhere freely and we are not expecting anything from them, then that's generosity.
Tatanda jimba shaya dikhirangi kigengi luptuluma kuranzu namju luptinangi rasdigi ani kirang da chugi jimba di chigi yesunra di en chigi mes ngaran kiranzu shedan chiona chagi mudus ngara shiona khaisna manzo ma lupti chiyo kasu khariurla na ngaranzu la ragi yores ta chigi ragi yorwas di ngaranzu gi chula khe rewa machi waina an di nganzu jimba chigi yorwas thanda di nganzu la ragi yores chezani jimba na shagi mes di
chana genara ani genagi ta pa lupti nando zambala ani sosoki pugu de yarje doro chana sambi samlo da ani ta khare sosoki dine chi bomi mata sosoki di pugu de yarje dore chi khare yarje dore chi chedo ani lupchon khare ta thamna zo tang labgirwa o di ani labti zambala ani jimba do chai res dine do chana.
So her question is, when you teach your students, you try to see improvement in your children and you strive hard to improve your students, right? So don't you consider this act as an act of generosity?
Go ahead.
I actually think that in this context, it's more an act of duty than generosity, because just the way you said it's the generosity of dharma, I think this would be generosity of karma. You're fulfilling your duty because that's what your job is and you're trying to do it to the best of your capability.
The thanda di shewa na ngara su khari chigur la na susu linge la na re lega la re dende jil chashani ani ngara su chie di la shishani chigur was di la di thanda ngazo thanda chugi jimba na si mes di ngara su linge cha di chigur res
di chimba dera ani di na karala da chimba yang da ba chagi maris ina ya da susuki kulung kadi ne kulung namda ki thone ne khunjolo lobsen tomba di na ani lobto din sala khati ne lam sangbo ki thon teng gi ras ani lam tom ba do chagi ras chimba samchik ta chagi saris khonja ki chimba majan chimba yang da ta maris di.
So when you are trying to improve your children students, so we don't consider something as a true generosity, but somehow if you have this motivation to see improvement in children and you work hard for that, and you're showing the right path or right way to your students, I think that's also an act of generosity.
I would agree from a theoretical point of view, but I would say that the Western scientists, that's not an aspect that they measure. They're looking more at gifts. So it might be material gifts, emotional support, that sort of thing, but the actual teaching and imparting of knowledge, I would say that Western scientists haven't looked at that. Yes. So, what they're talking about, which is the sharing of knowledge in order to improve students' lives, Western scientists have never really considered that as a measurement of generosity. So instead, Western scientists really look at things more like material gifts or possibly emotional support. But this kind of imparting of knowledge, right now they do not look at it as generosity, but perhaps in the future they might.
Okay. Tanda nupchoro chasho na serigi tanda cheje shisa mangbu chagyo ros di tawe kapsu tanda jimba cheje jura di jedu kala nganjugi mangche kharil tagur lawana nyimba khagas ra meda phajugi susula sure khagas te meda an thagana shi ni nyongsur da te phajugi roba hangas chi meda dila ni shishani khunjugi jegyo res tanda khiran ju she onan shi tanda lobjon de ju ya pe da jigyo di ani tanda jimbe gi cheje jura dinala chuyo mares tanda.
I'd just like to add to what Vicky said. In some literature, they're actually looking at generosity in terms of intention, cost, and benefit. So it's your motivation, that's the intention, that's very important. But literature also looks at cost, which is not only money, but it could be your time, your energy. You could have spent that time doing something else, but you spent that helping someone or devoting it to someone. And finally, the last important parameter is benefit, that if I've been generous to someone, then it should be of some benefit to you. You should gain from it. Otherwise, it's perhaps not considered generosity.
Tanda Quran zo shezu chiwa ina jimba se jura dila chi khariyor lawana kulon di kechumbu chagiyo res. Anyam do chi khariyor lawana dila ta pa tangoya lo chi khari chugur lawana tuzo tango gore thagana shi nuba tango gore res. An chi pa te oina susu le kheben yo die tagiyo roas pa jimba tango kapsu.
Zuka di jimba lengi di inji meja ngazu di jimba sande ngobu chibu mayimba ani jimba de ani kasala susugi mila samlo yabo tanya da tonan che da ani mila ani robo kasada mil shendun jibi kaso ani tangdun che da di sangma ani simbi jimba tanya yurisira.
So when we talk about generosity, it's not just about objects, giving objects to other person's belongings or things like that. And we take into consideration honesty and without any sense of stinginess that person is offering. And even if the person is not able to do it physically, he thinks about this act. Like, okay, this person is suffering and I want to help that person. All these thoughts falls under generosity.
Peshanara the mi kashita mi do kashi chubu ina ne pesha mangbu ina kashi keje shege mara chichi bu le digen la ne ngazugi tuzu de ne kondola keje shega do in tuzu de ne keje shebe keje shen no khozam nam de keje shede dewa ina tuzu de ne na diga jimba dugi de isra.
So for example, if there is a wealthy person and if he has no friends and he is lonely, if we devote our time and spend our time with him, talking to him, that's also an act of generosity.
호주기 짐바데 네 ngobu jipol ngozingi na yani jimba sande kandiji ngozingi to jimbade.
So when you talk about generosity, do you take into consideration of generosity as something like donating objects or belongings, something material?
It includes material, but it's not limited to only material gifts. We mentioned earlier as well, non-material things like extending support to someone, giving someone time, just listening to someone when they need to, be heard if they have no one to talk to. I think all of that is an act of generosity. So it's not just material gifts.
The group enjoy the ngobojura di jimbata wa tsibuji nganzo jimbatsi yo mares ngola shiwa na shi ni group enjoy maimba thanda chasha ona tuzo tangye che en kiranzo shiwa na shi phajo midita rogbo gugu na keje shela di pha tuzo tangni pha keje she che ra di changma jimba na tsi yo res.
Okay, there are some questions from audience. Very interesting question. Parents give birth to children. Is it considered as generosity? If it is, then which kind of, out of these three?
The mother chasha na pu ki yo was di in pu ki o di ani thanda nganzo gi jimba tsi yo res. Han jimba tsi gi yo na jimba riksum da di ni khandi na chu yo res.
Mai puki odle. Mai puki. Mai puki ole chidang
Pama ne pu chu yo ra da ki o di pama tishde.
짐바 도 샤네 디고레스 가젠라나 거기 갈라나 미기 딜라 부구디기 깨와다라 아니 부구디기니 디기나라 슈제 아니 저와 상복이 촐라 아니 슈제니 짐바당 가레이네 셴뱅기 경향 딜라 도투나 아니 디기 아마딜라 부구디기 촐네 아니 아마딜라 랍쳔보치다 수남당 가레이네 사기 여러스 개와 랍쳔보치 용기 여러스 부구기 균네 디 짐바도 차기 여러스.
So I consider this something as generosity, giving birth to a child, because if the child grows up into a good human being and he leads into the act of, he indulges in the act of generosity, so that is also considered as an act of generosity. So I consider it as a generosity.
Dila kebar never mindus rigni dus ya pude ngenchola de ne do pension pembashira mena yang kebar yomares.
But I won't consider it as an act of generosity if the child leads he doesn't lead a good life and he indulges in bad activities and all these things. I don't consider this as a generosity.
지난데 담 부구게 전라 다티상 미든소 부구게 부구니 마시게 말했으라 부구 망복가시 아니 미밀로네데 미 가다 미밀로네데 백권버리스라 이남 다 미밀로 되네 데베 콘보제 케마 가사다 부구니 마시케 마투지 아니다 부구 케나다 짐바야 레 아니 코랑냐 지된데르 레워들 아니냐 자와 상부질 중마토느냐 디바레 단니제 레차 디스 부구 망모까 셰리스라 부구니레 라바케기 마레스라 아니 미밀로 토고나 네토 마토제 강이 테오레스라 아니 케나다 다 파말레 다 Gewaya yode the Gewalani Jimbada or Resra, the Gewala Jimbanan Sudus. And the Pugu de the Pama de Kevas of Mayim Bana Pugu de Lamdia, which you in and it did Jimbanangla to you Resra. Lamdia were matching it and ya Chiden de Lekena and Chiden.
So these days we see like the family adopts this family planning and they have only 2 children in their own homes, right? So we know that human life is very rare and precious. So if by giving birth to a child, I feel this as an act of generosity. And if the child, if the parents nurture the child and he leads a good life, that's also an act of generosity.
So next question is, if someone is donating money for name and fame, is it considered a generosity?
The kisi mijiki jimbatang jura susu mingda dinde chedu jimbatang oina andi jimba nansi yures. The jimbatang oisi yures.
The susuki mingi chedu ni jimbatang oina ane jimba yangdaji chagi mare jimbi nangda suri de jimba yangdaji mare sira. Jimbatang ona ni so pangse mebi gone ane kaza pangse mebi gone susu lo tani phala de tewaji la shagi de sira. Senna maybe don't simple but senna maybe
So when a person is donating something for his name or fame's sake, it's like he's donating something, so that's an act of generosity, but it's not a true act of generosity. So we say something as a true generosity only when the person gives it wholeheartedly without any sense of stinginess.
So I just want to go back to the question about whether or not having a child is an act of generosity, because I think in the West, and it may not be the same here in the East, in the West, many people have children in some ways out of selfishness, because they want that child, they want to experience the love of the child. It's more to serve their own needs, and to have that opportunity to raise a child, rather than the idea of raising a child who is good. I mean, I think some parents definitely want that, but I think there are many selfish reasons that people actually have children. So I wonder, can that really be an act of generosity? Don't you have to look at the parents' motivation in terms of why they're having the child as well?
And thanda pu keeshwa dil cha shawna korangi samjuji khariyona nupcho do cha shawna ta susu rangdun che do cha yo res khashi phama dejo pugudiyo aina ani susu la kibo yo anda jigyora chewa da dile jine ani susu la kheben dendel tani ani cha yo was dil du thanda di pugu ke la du chi phama gi kulong di khechum cha yo mares pugu ke di koranju kulong khandi chikini ki yo de di magi ngori khechum che mares phama gi kulong di khechum cha yo was di
부게 됐다 나저 나저도 삼로 당나라 나저도 나네 삼로 당나 다 부고데 그래서래 기왕이 지켜내 도나 다 기와 다르기 남시에 기와 렌사미 망보데라 다 기와 망보 가서 남시에 다 기와 렌사 망보 하이로 진짜 손자 아니 디 부고데기나 아마이 파지 짐바도 차서서는도 그래서나 부고데 그래다 아마기 부고데기나 들었다 남시에 징제 밀리줄렌 투로 진짜 손상어 대파진 짐바 아마긴 거는 짐바 치부지 차서랬습니다. 이나야 부구디 끼에제 부구디 아니 개와 약버트루다 양 마오바 디빌레 마잖아 아니 크로니컬 짐바 차서랬 아니 부구디게 양 끼에제 그래 끼에냐 미라 그래서 지존날 페마도 오늘 밖에 주나야 부구는 거는 안다 약버트 짐바 차 말was.
So we believe in the law of karma and rebirth. So when we talk about parents giving birth to a child, the mothers giving birth to a child, I feel that as an act of generosity, because we talk about consciousness which flows from one life to the next. So it gets a human body and gets a new life. So I think it's an act of generosity by giving birth.
There are 3-4 questions related to poor person and generosity. So in all these questions, it has been written, if you are a poor person, then how you can use generosity. So maybe it's only in material term, but there are various other ways to, experience or to have generosity. So would you like to answer, please?
The me upojiyo inastra andilang anzo jimba khandes nang thures. Tadi thanda ngui da di chipu mai bayan tablam shimba ngui ni jimba tonga yorwas di thola upojiyo na mi kyo bojiyo na pencho kyo
ninji kaje ta noryo goye da dire ma chidang kare ta nor chipu me bayan soso ge lopso ge da kare da lamdyon che ra lega ta soso ge lega peshana lega mi ta kyo je lega me che ani tende son lega da lega tende soso ge kare sore 랭외도 젤레가 된다니 지선들의 제와 있나요? 어디 소소 그래다 파주들 펜토로 아니 진짜 손자 아니 고야 얘기 들어서 아니 내가 집에서였어.
So for example, if that person is poor and jobless, we can help find him a job. So through that we can share this act of generosity to that poor person. No.
Yeah, so they are saying through what is the response?
No, she said if the poor person is poor and he's jobless, we can help him and find him a job.
No, how poor person can do?
Okay. Mi wubo jigiro. Ani jimba khandes tang thu res lan thur reshas.
Di mi ulbo chin jimba tang thu res. Hajalana mi kyo ji da khran le chiga mewa inaya ani chujigi ne jimba tang chu res. Hajalana peshanara ani concept dilara mi pe kyo chi thewaina ani dila mi ro chi da dine ro khamga da khari ni le ma se mara dine ro yoina an dila ta chumena meta brasti ni khakumbe gi kapsula chuji lona ya di mi kyo digi ani ta norse chimba jiya me na ya chudi ni khola dine ro mi dila tesona ani chimba chagres di chimba ta yores.
So Yes, a poor person can be generous. Like for example, he can if he gives water to someone, that's also an act of generosity. So for example, if there is a village and there are people suffering, he can give water, and that comes under the act of generosity. So even by giving water, that is considered an act of generosity. So a poor person can help.
인자 아니 zemulila 가와 이네 추메교니 말아 추 짐바당마도 외치다 겨우치다 여기 말했어. 인자 티니 짐바당 쇼그레스.
Since we know that water is available everywhere on the earth, so each and everyone can donate give water to other person who is in need of that.
한질래 가서내라 아니 미 우카시 짐바타에 맨나라 아니 미신지게 아니 미축부지 짐바 다 미신지 짐바땅어 통이나 딜레 수수기 아니 딜레 제수이랑당 아니 nga 짐마 nga랑가 땅 투지네스 땅심지다 깨워나다라 아니 딜라고 짐바두기데스라 힌짐지 짐봉고 땅고 마데스 수수기 땅심지 땅심이 깨워나가 짐바두기데스라 원바상기 좀 된데게 아니 상기 좀 된디게 네 가사 네 소년 페두sam바 아니 팔레면 미지라 부여미네 가사다 팔레 제마지 부데스라 제마지 부두sam바 아니 디가 아니 타임에 제마지 부냐가 디가 짐바도리 짐바 차요데스라.
So for example, if a poor man sees a wealthy person donating something to other people, so by seeing that act, the poor person feels like, oh, how I wish I can also donate the same way. So that thinking or that thought itself is an act of generosity that is considered being generous. And for example, when we talk about Lord Buddha, there was a person who only has a sand in his bowl, and he offered that ball of sand to Lord Buddha. So that is considered an act of generosity.
Next. One more very interesting question. Do you think that giving will lead to the enlightenment? If yes, then how? If no, then what are the other ways to get enlightenment? Or attain enlightenment?
Sange tanda jimbat na oina sange khobang thobgu res kisi thobgu me oina ani thablam shimba khari res khari gi gyuni ani sange khobang thob tug res
sange khobang thobe res jimbat na la teni tadangan chugi karjelana pharjin duna la sange gi khobang thoa gi lam cho di pharjin duna la ani jimba sha res khajelana jimba di amena ya ani shinbin digi macha ro sha ro res khajelana jimba digi 파기 상게 고반 토알라 그래 이나야 아니 짐바지 아니 세기 짐바이네 최기 짐바이네 아니 껴베 지바이네 담이 지베기 껴바 나로 참마디 참마 창거 요레스 짐바디로는 상게 고반 토에 요레스 상게 고반 토에기 아니 짐바딘조 람 탑도 치차기 요레스.
Yes, one can attain enlightenment by being generous, because when we talk about 6 perfections, this generosity is included. So when by indulging or by involving in these 3 types of generosity, act of generosity, one can attain enlightenment.
Yeah, it's for other panelists. What motivation do you have when you make donation or giving away something? And what do you feel after that?
I would say that the motivation to give something away or donate something is going to be individual to the person. There's really no way for us to, I mean, we can ask them in terms of why you want to do it. Some people do it because they truly care about others and they want to help other people. Other people do it, as was mentioned before, for fame, because it makes them look good to other people. But the reasons for giving something away or making donations is really individual. But in terms of how it makes a person feel afterwards, again, I think that if it's truly an altruistic act, then what neuroscientists have found by looking at the brain is that the reward center of our brain lights up, meaning that we get a rush of dopamine, which gives us a sense of euphoria, and that actually can encourage people to become more generous. So it feels really, really good generally to give something away, and our body tells us that it's a very good thing, which is motivating us to continue doing it.
I also felt that the question was maybe for personal experience as to what is the motivation. So if I could answer it for myself, perhaps the motivation would be, while giving away something, would be to share or to fulfill someone else's need. And yes, how do you feel after that? Incredibly happy and satisfied.
So I am also in the same team. I would say I would feel happy, and I love to be happy. So that's my response. Any other question, if from this side or this side, just before wind up the session?
The jugdom machi konglani kiran zungoni tiwa in the US.
아니 다다 짐바디라 아니 코로나속이 다다 세리버터네 누추버터네 아니 짐바디 아니 최소 짐볼라네 충중라네 미링어리네 아니 짐바땅나다 심바요레스 균을 벤저키터네 디 짐바땅와라테니 아니 코로나속이 꿀롱데 컨데스다 짐바땅와데 수수랑기 지부기 아니 지두 팽기 지두 땅기 임베 아니 예메나 아니 다 신빙기랑 치도 삼제 디땅기 메스 다다 그때다디 아니 땀시오 그런슬라니 니 삼설기도 내시에기 디와딘스 그런스기 삼설기나 아니 간데 용사레스 다 지당데니 여랭한 솔라데니 여레라긴디 마레스 그런스기 삼설랑네 간데 삼사레스다 데니도 치라 삼로타나.
So what do you consider something as an act of generosity? I'm asking for your individual opinion. So, is it what is the motivation when you're is it for the benefit of oneself, or is it for the benefit for others? So, what is the motivation?
My answer is both. I am getting benefit as well as I am giving benefit to others. So now,
niga chagdus kainana jimbatangwaina susula kebendu shenla keben yorasti niga lagyus niga chugdus dina.
In my own personal experience is I give gifts and I help others because I truly want to help another person, and I feel that the lovely feeling that comes afterwards is kind of a side effect. And even if that wasn't a side effect, I would still do it because personally, I'm truly motivated to remove the suffering of other people.
Ngarang wini chashawana tanda jimbatong waina shenla roba chigi yoras ngara shenla roba chigi deba yozange jimbatang yores dende tang waina susu kiu chugu yoche ani di jimbatang di dende keben rosh thongu dos.
아니 길라 그런 저다 짐바당도 점발라 아니 미데 따파주 교진 펜 토야지고 제도 땅 그래야 소소라 아니 그래서 땀년자다는데 소소야 아니 그래서 교용에다 딘데 제도 땅 그래야 파주디길라 오늘 전에 다 그랬음니 내중소라 다 셈바페 다 그래 파주디 닝제지 아니 딘데 땅 그래서 짐바 지다 고서 땅.
So she's again asking for your personal opinions. So when you're in this act of generosity, so what is the motivation? So is it truly to help others? Is your motivation is helping others, or is it for your name or fame's sake? So what is the motivation?
I'd say that, okay, answer one and answer two. Answer one is that it's not always the same across situations. Different situations merit different responses, but largely, if I'm helping someone or there's generosity, then it would be to genuinely help someone. A lot of times, no one else would really know that you did it for someone, so it's definitely not for name or fame.
Tanda jimbatong waina shimbal roba che samlo kulong dikini tangyo re susu mingda ngara do chasha waina mingda dinde che du mes. And I
would say that having name and fame just personally is something that I avoid in my life. I have absolutely no interest in being famous. So for me, generosity is truly to help other people.
ngaran cha sho ene ge thanda ming kera chaya da dindela shu di mes de ba dinde mes dila du ngarang gi phala roba chi wa ina ni ngune ki ta thanda phajola roba chi da dinde gi kulong ki ni roba chi yes chimba tong ede